Okay. So good morning, everybody. Yeah, today we are going to do a revision in order to prepare you to go for the online test 2. Okay. So the summary I have created based on what we have learned. That will be covered for your test 2. And in order to do so, we'll do the revision backward. All right. We'll start from chapter 5 and then chapter 4 and chapter 3. Okay. I'll start from chapter 5 first. I have chosen the most important slide that you need to know for your online test 2. So let me share the screen now. Okay, hey, morning. Okay, so in chapter number 5, the graph analysis, what are the topics or the section that we need to focus on? Okay, the first one is the forming of linear equation. Okay, how to form the linear equation? That one you need to know. Linear equation means straight line equation, right? So during the last lecture on Monday, we already studied the standard format of the linear equation, which is equal to y equals mx plus c. And this is the standard format of a straight line equation. So first we need to understand first the meaning of each variable. So y on the left hand side, you may see y. Right? Y means the dependent variable. Okay, so that means that value depends on the x value. The y value is depends on x. That's why we call y as a dependent variable. Then on the right we have m, x plus c. Yeah, okay, I'll start with x. X means the independent variable. Whereby this variable, the value will not depend on other values. Okay, it's independent variable. They'll move on to m. M is the slope or gradient of a straight line. The m value can be positive number, can be 0, can be negative number. So what is the meaning if the m value is positive number? That means the slope of the straight line will be outward sloping. What is the example? It will be the red line. If you can see from the graph, the red line, this one is outward sloping. That means when the s increasing, the y also increasing. Okay, so that is the meaning of m positive value. That means x and y have positive relationship. Okay. What happens if the m value is negative number? If negative number, that means the straight line that we are going to form is downward sloping. Downward sloping, that will be something like this blue line. Okay. When x increasing, the y will reduce. That means x and y have negative relationship. Can you see this? Okay. So what happens if the m value is equal to 0? That means the straight line has no slope. Okay, it's a straight line but no slope. What is the meaning? That means the straight line is horizontal. Okay, horizontal straight line. That means the m has 0 slope, 0 gradient. Okay, so now you may ask, is there any formula that we can use in order to identify the m? Yes, but there is a formula to calculate the slope of the straight line equation. The formula is equal to y1 minus y2 divided by x1 minus x2. What is the meaning of all these y and x? Actually, these are the coordinates. The two coordinates that are passed through by the straight line. Okay, either one of the coordinates. So that means that in order to calculate the m value, we need to know at least 2 points that will be passed through by the straight line that we want to form. Okay, coordinates means points. So one coordinate consists of the x and y value. Right? Okay, besides using this formula, some students may ask, can we try to change the position? Instead of using y1 minus y2, we use y2 minus y1, then divided by x2 minus x1. Yes, can. I think in your school previously, you may use another formula, which is using y2 minus y1 divided by x2 minus x1. Yes, okay. As long as the sequence of the 1 and the 2 must be consistent between the numerator and denominator. Okay. So far so good, All right. So once you get the m value, then you can get the c value by substitute the x, y, and also m into the equation. Then you can get the c, which is the intercept. Intercept means the point whereby the straight line will pass through the y-axis. Okay, and that is the y value when x is equal to 0. But that is the meaning of C. Yeah, C is the intercept, y-intercept. So let us try one example. Oh yeah, okay. So let us try one example from our practice exercise question. All right. Let's try one example. Yeah, practice exercise question on how the question will be asked to test the understanding of forming the straight line equation. All right. So now I go to the canvas now. Okay, I had to wait for a while hanging. Maybe I use another computer to show the working, otherwise it will be hanging. Okay, I have a question for in my Microsoft Word. If you have the laptop, you can try to open the practice exercise 2, question number 9. Question number 9, yeah. Okay, yeah. Try one more time. Okay, then we go to module. Huh? For assessing the practice exercise 2. Under week 11. Okay. Yeah, the system is hanging, the internet. Still loading. Okay. Now, okay, we go to question number 9. Yeah? If you have the laptop or handphone, you can, it's question number 10, sorry. Question 10. Okay, I try to increase the size of the screen so that you can see. Yeah. Question 10, huh? Okay, this question, all right? So this question is a straight line passes, okay, there is a straight line, that means a linear line, passes through 5, 6, and 11, 3. That means these are the two coordinates that pass through by the straight line, okay? And you're asked to calculate or identify the straight line equation. You're asked to form the straight line equation if the two coordinates are given to you. So in order to answer this question, okay, the first step is you need to get an M value followed by C, and then make the conclusion of the straight line equation. So let me copy the question first to show you the workings, okay, on how to answer this question. So I copy this question. Okay, then I paste to Microsoft Word. Okay, a new one. Okay, so from the question, we know that the first coordinate is what value we have? Five, 6. Okay. So I copy this question to show the workings to you using the word later on. Okay, so that means we can give this one as x1. We can indicate a symbol, use a symbol. So x1 is 5. You can use the underscript symbol x1. And then y1 is equal to 6. Okay. And then this is the second coordinate, so we can give a name also for this. So we can assume that this is x2. Then the y2 is equal to 3. So we have, okay, 4 information here, already given to us. Now you're asked to form the straight line. We know that the straight line equation, what is the format just now already learned. The standard format of the straight line equation is equal to y equals mx plus c. Okay, so that means that our target is now is we need to ensure that the equation that we form is in this format. It's in this format. Small letter of y, it's a small letter of x. In fact, x and y, we already know the values. Okay, we already know 2x value and 2y values. So should be okay for us now. X and y okay now. Okay, so now the problem is we need to get the m value we need to get first, in order to form the equation. So what is the formula that we have to use? We need to copy the formula from the PowerPoint slide that we have gone through this morning, right? The PowerPoint slide. Okay, let me go back to the PowerPoint slide to copy the formula. The system is quite a lot slow because connect too many things at once. Projector, Microsoft Teams, yeah, PowerPoint slide, Canvas. That's why the system is also like hanging. Okay, so I copy this formula that we learned this morning. This is the formula to identify the m or the slope of a straight line equation. So I copy it. Okay, I scroll up now so that you can see the whole picture. Okay, so the next step is we need to substitute the x and y value into the m equation now in order to get the m value. Okay. Okay, so some may ask which one is x1, which one is y1, which one is x2, and which one is y2. Usually the first point that given is x1 and y1. Okay, the first point given is x1, y1. The second point given will be x2, y2. Right? Okay, y1 means the first point y value is 6. Substitute. Okay, better scroll up so they can see. Okay, and then y2 is the second y value 3. X1 is 5. And then the second x value is 11. Then we simplify the numerator and denominator. This again. So simplify this is 2. 3, this is 3. Then, okay. Denominator, if you simplify, is negative number, right? Negative 6. Okay, so this fraction number can be simplified again. It's equal to negative 1/2. All right, but since if you convert to decimal number, it's a finite decimal number, so that means it's okay also. If you want to convert the value or leave the answer into decimal number, is also fine because it's a finite number. So I would rather go for decimal number, easy for me to see the whole picture. Okay, but both are okay. Both fraction number or decimal number is accepted for this case. But just leave the answer in the decimal number, which is equal to negative 0.5. So that means the slope of the straight line that we want to form is equal to negative 0.5, which is a negative slope, downward sloping. So once we have the m value, then we can get the c value. How to do so? We can go back to the original formula, the standard straight line equation, using this formula again to calculate the c. Okay, you want to get the c value, we need to substitute the x, m, and also x, right? Okay, so now you may ask, which x and y value we should use in order to substitute the value, which one? We have 2x values given, 2y value given. I'll choose the first point, all right? Yeah, if you choose the first x, that means you have to choose the first y also to substitute the x and y value into the equation, all right? If you choose x2, then y2 should be chosen also. I'll choose x1 and y1, all right? X1 and y1. In this case here, just now y1 is equal to, what's the value? 6, right? 6, M is already calculated for us. Okay, we already have the answer, negative 0.5. X just now is 5, right? The first X value. C don't know. Okay. So remember this Y is from here. This one, Y is from here. X is from here. Okay. Next step is to simplify this expression, all right, in order to solve the C. On the left-hand side, okay, on the right-hand side, we have negative 0.5 multiply positive 5, you'll get negative 0.25. Is it 0.2? It should be 2.5, negative 2.5. Then plus C, yeah. So C is equal to positive 8.5. C is small letter C, yeah. Okay, so once we know the M and C, we can make the conclusion now. The straight line equation is so how to make conclusion? Conclusion is you need to substitute the M and C value into the standard format of the straight line equation. Is Y equals M is negative 0.5. Okay, X is okay a non-variable, and then C just now we already get the answer 8.5 positive. Okay, so this is the answer. Okay, so let's go back to the canvas side and check which option matches with this answer, with our answer, right? We go back to canvas. So which option is correct? 1, 2, 3, 4. Just now, compare. Okay. So our answer is Y equals negative 0.5x plus 8.5. So which option is correct? 1, 2, 3, 4. The answer in the canvas seems to be is putting the x at the last term. The x variable is put at the last term. So which option is correct? 1, 2, 3, 4. Matches with the equation that we formed, which is this one. Option number 3, huh? All right, number 3, huh? All right. So if you this option number 3 is correct, then just check this one, this answer. Okay. So one example is not enough, right? Because the format of the question for this question can be in another form. Let us see question number 11. Okay. This question is also asking us to form the straight line equation, but the information given now slightly different. Only 1 point given. Okay. So you're asked to identify the linear equation in which the intercept is already given, which is 3. Intercept is given 3. So what's the meaning? That means C is equal to 3. Okay, C is given already. Okay. And this line will pass through the point 39. So that means one of the x and y value also given. X and y value already given to us. 39. We are asked to form the straight line equation. Right? So let me copy this question first. Copy. Okay, and then I paste to Microsoft Word. So this is question 11. Okay, let's scroll up. So before I answer this question, better write down first the information given, right? Okay, so the information we have is C, which is equal to 3 positive. Okay, intercept means C. One of the x value also given, so I just put x here, right? Equals to 3. And one of the y is equal to 9. Okay. Then the next step is we have to choose the correct formula. The correct formula in order to identify the m. Now we don't have the m, okay? C already have, x already have, y already have. Only the m we don't have. So we need to get the m value, okay? Do we need to use the formula of this to get the m value? This one. You still can use this formula if you want. In fact, we know 2 points, huh? Because C is, okay, if C is given, that means one of the point is equal to 0.3 lah, all right? But because C is already given to us, huh? So not necessarily we need to get the m value by using this formula anymore. We can do the shortcut now, because C is already given to us. What can we do is we just copy this formula, right? Copy this, because this is the standard format of the straight line equation. So we copy this equation, put here. Okay. Then the next step is to substitute number into each variable. So in this case here, y is equal to 9. M don't know. X is 3 positive. It's 3 positive. Okay, simplify now. Usually we prefer to write down the number followed by the unknown variable. Then the next step is to move the 3 plus 3, move to the left hand side, right? Because minus 3. Simplify, the left hand side is 6. So if you are good enough, you can get the m value directly, which is 6 divided by 3, so I'll get 2 positive. Okay. So once you know the m, the c, you can make the conclusion. Conclusion, how to make the conclusion? Just copy that sentence. The straight line equation is, I copy this. Okay, equation, copy. Put here. Okay, we just need to change the m and c. In this case, m now is 2. So here, we just need to put 2. C is 3 positive for this question. Okay. So once you already have the answer, okay, let's check with the Canvas responses. There are 4 options, right? On Canvas. Okay, let's check which one is matches with the answer that we have just now. Two x plus 3. Which one is correct? Option number 4, huh? The fourth one, huh? All right, this one. Option number 4. Matches with this, y equals 2x plus 3. Okay. So for this chapter number 5, the graph analysis, this slide is very important. Okay, that will tell you how to form the linear equation. So possible, okay, all right. Then we move on to next question from the Canvas, which is question number 12. Okay, question 12. Okay, for question 12 is there are two straight lines given to us. Straight line means the highest power of the unknown variable is 1. Okay, so there are two straight lines given to us. The first one is called as y equals 7 plus x. Another second equation is y equals 9 plus 3x. Okay, and these two lines intersect. That means meet each other. Okay, at the point of xy coordinates. And you're asked to calculate what is the x and y value. That means you're asked to identify what is the intersection point or intersection coordinate between these two lines. Whereby these two lines will share the same x and y value. That's the meaning. So that means for this question is you have to solve these two equations at the same time. Okay. So how to do so then? So okay, in order to get this answer, okay, I just copy these two equations into the Microsoft Word to show the workings. I want to copy now, but seems to be the mouse is not working. Okay, if that's the case, I just type directly in the Microsoft Word. This is question. The first equation is what? First equation, y equals 7 plus x. Second equation is y equals 9 plus 3x. Okay, it's two equations. Okay, if you analyze that, you may find that on the left hand side, only y left, right? Only y is the subject on the left hand side. Y. Okay, if both sides have similar y, have similar value on the left hand side, that means that on the right hand side should be the same for both equations. So we can conclude that, right? Based on this, we can conclude the right hand side of the first equation is exactly equal to the right hand side of the second equation. We can conclude like this, isn't it? Because on the left hand side for both equations have similar subject y. So we can conclude 7 plus x is equal to 9 plus 3x. So based on this, then we can try to calculate the x value easily by transposing the formula only. Okay. On the left hand side, the coefficient of x is 1. On the right hand side, the coefficient of x is 3. Because the coefficient on the right hand side is bigger, I prefer, okay, it's up to you, it's optional. I prefer to move plus x to the right hand side so that the coefficient of x is still positive number. Okay, and then the number that without a non-variable without the x, I'll move to the left hand side. Okay, optional. You can choose. You can decide which side you want to accumulate all the x variable. I'll accumulate all the x variable on the right hand side at the moment to keep the coefficient of x positive. Okay, so I'll move the 9 from right to the left. Okay, the plus x on the right, left hand side, I'll move to the right because minus x. Okay, so on the left now, 7 minus 9 is equal to 2. The right, 3x minus x is equal to 2x. So that means x is equal to positive 1. So once we know the x value, we can calculate the y value. Okay, so no, it should be negative. This one should be negative 1, negative 2. 7 minus 9 should be negative 2. Okay. Then we have to transpose the formula to make the x as the subject. Yeah, we have to move this 2 to the left hand side becomes divided by 2. So answer is equal to -1. Okay. All right. Now the next step is to replace x equals to -1. Replace x equals -1 to which formula? Okay. So far there are 2 formula. All right. There are 2 equations that we have. Okay. So you choose either one of the equation to replace x equals to -1. Okay. So maybe I'll choose the first equation to the first equation. So that means I copy the first equation. I copy, all right, this one. Okay, then start to substitute the value. Okay, 7 plus x. X is -1, so I just put -1, all right? So y is equal to so that means the intersection point between the 2 equations is equal to -1, 6 positive. -1, 6. Okay, so let us go back to the canvas, check which answer has this option. The answer is the first one, right? -1, 6. Okay, so this is the first part for chapter 5 that you need to understand the linear equation formation. Okay, second part now is how are we going to apply the simultaneous equation concept, okay, or the understanding into break-even analysis. So that means before we can apply break-even analysis, we need to understand first the meaning and the concept. So let's try to do a summary again, okay, on break-even analysis. What is the meaning? Okay. Which is this slide, important slide. Okay. See, all right. So what's the meaning of break-even? Break-even means when running a business, there is no profit and no loss being made. No profit and no loss when running a business. Just manage to cover the cost of currently. So what is the special thing about this break-even level of production? That means at the break-even level, the income is exactly equal to the expenses. That means the total revenue of the company is exactly equal to the total cost of the business. Okay. So what the company receive is exactly to what the company spend. Exactly the same. That is the important characteristics of break-even. Okay. Income is equal to expenses. Okay. So now is how to identify the income. Income, we have to use the formula. Okay. Income is equal to the selling price per unit multiplied quantity sold. Selling price for one unit multiply with number of quantity being sold out in the business. Okay. So what is the symbol we can use to represent selling price? Selling price per unit, we can use small letter of S. Okay. And then quantity sold, usually we use small letter of N. So that means I is equal to S multiplied N. So you may find that, right? The more quantity being sold out, the higher the income of the organization. Okay. So if I draw the diagram of the income equation, you may find that it's a straight line and outward sloping, which is this blue line. This is the income equation, right? It's outward sloping. And you may find that when the quantity of number being sold up the more income will be received by the organization. And this income equation is start from the origin point. Start from the origin point. That means if the number of quantity being sold out is 0, no unit being sold out, then the income is equal to 0. Okay, that's the meaning. So what's good? Okay. Then how about expenses? How to identify the expenses? Okay, expenses generally in the company involve two main costs. Okay, two costs that will happen when manufacturing the product and also selling the product. Involve two costs. Okay, the costs are called as the total variable cost, followed by the fixed cost. What is the meaning of total variable cost? Total variable cost, as example, would be raw materials to produce the product. Let's say Coca-Cola. Let's say the company is producing Coca-Cola. Then what are the variable costs occur? That will be the raw materials to produce Coca-Cola. So what are the raw materials that should be included to produce Coca-Cola? We need sugar, right? Water, syrup. We may need also aluminum to produce the can to better this this drink, right? All these are called as raw materials. Okay, and all these are variable costs. That means the materials have to be increased. The number of materials have to be more when you want to produce more units of production. More material have to be used. So we call it as variable cost. The cost of increase. Okay, the variable cost of increase when the number of production increase. Okay, so how is the line of the variable cost? It will be like this, the purple one. Okay, the purple line is also outward sloping. It's outward sloping. And when the production is 0, there is no variable cost. Okay, when the production is equal to 0, there is no variable cost. Okay, okay. Second cost is fixed cost. Fixed cost, okay, has to be fixed cost will happen before producing the first unit of production. And then it's called as fixed cost. Okay. So what are the examples of fixed costs? Fixed costs are like rental. Okay, when running a business, we need to get a place, right, to operate the business or to manufacture the product. We need a space. Okay, in order to get the space, we need to rent that space. Okay, and the cost is called as rental. Rental is a fixed cost, and this rental is fixed. No matter how many number of units you produce, the rental fees is always the same. Okay, so it's horizontal line. Okay. What are the example of a fixed cost again? Part worker is a full-time staff. Full-time workers are also considered as fixed cost because before we run the business, we need to employ the workers first, stand by the workers before we produce the first unit of production. We must have the employees, okay, to help us to operate the manufacturing process. Okay, a manager also, the salary of manager is also considered as fixed cost. Okay, so you may find that the fixed cost curve is horizontal form. Okay, so that means it's already occurred, okay, and it's already fixed. No matter how many quantity of production the company is going to increase, the cost is always the same for fixed cost. Okay. All right. So if you sum up the variable cost and the fixed cost, we call this as the total cost, or we call it expenses, total cost. So total cost is the total variable cost plus the fixed cost. So you'll get this one, the red line, right? This red line is the total cost function. So the special thing is you may find that this total cost, right, is started from here, from this point, which is the fixed cost, right? When the quantity is 0, we have fixed cost. We have the total cost of this value, which is the fixed cost. When the Q is equal to 0, the quantity is 0. Some cost already happened, which is the fixed cost. And then another observation is you may find that like the total cost function and the variable cost function seems to be parallel, never meet each other, but same slope. Okay, same slope. So this is a special thing about total cost and variable cost relationship. Okay, so where is the break-even point then. Okay, in break-even point means when the revenue of the company is exactly equal to the total cost of the company. Yeah? Same value. Okay, so how to identify? You need to go to the intersection point between the revenue curve and also the expenses curve. Where is that? Oh, yeah, here. Yeah, it's the yellow point here. Okay, this is the intersection point between income and expenses. What is the name for this point? We call this as the break-even point. Break-even point. All right. So if you want to know the break-even level of production, how? What you can do is you can use ruler. Draw a straight line, a vertical straight line from this point until touching the x-axis. So this is the break-even level of production. This is the end value that will achieve break-even. This is the end unit number that must be sought out in order to achieve break-even. Okay, so you need to understand the concept first. Okay, let's try one example from your tutorial question. You can go to the tutorial, exercise 5.6. Let's apply the concept of simultaneous equation into the break-even analysis question. Exercise 5.6, question number 1. This question. Okay, let us analyze the question together. So this question is, the BHP washing machine company assembles only one type of washing machine that sells at $568 per machine. So that means a company only produces one model of washing machine, only one model, assume. All right. And then the selling price per unit is equal to 568. So from this sentence that we can form, in fact, we know that the selling price is equal to 568. So I just simply put S is equal to 568. I just put here. All right. Indicate here. Before we answer the question. Okay, next sentence. The variable cost for producing the machine include quite a number of things. Include the motor, cabinet, plastic, okay. This consists of $178 per machine, okay, per washing machine. Need this. Then plus timer mechanism is $104. Direct labor $88. Sales and delivery expenses $52 per machine. So all of these are considered as variable cost per unit. Okay? Variable cost per unit. For producing a machine, these are the variable costs happen. Okay, so I put here. So we need to sum up the total variable cost, which is equal to 422 per unit only. 422. Okay, last sentence. The fixed expenses of depreciation of plant and equipment is equal to this value, $16,500 per month, plus the rental maintenance $13,000 per month, and the administration and salary is $7,000 per month. So all of these are called as fixed costs. Okay, these are fixed costs. So we need to sum up. You'll get 36,500 per month. So this is the monthly fixed cost. Okay, part A. Part A is determine the income equation. That means only need to form the income equation only. Okay, so we need to use the formula. So we know that income is equal to S multiplied N, right? Income is equal to S multiplied N. Okay, do we know the S value? Yes, we know the S value. So we substitute. N, do we know? We don't know the N value at the moment. So we just leave it there. So answer is equal to I is equal to 568 multiplied number of quantities solved. Okay. Okay, part B. Let's scroll down a little. Okay, part B. Determine the expenses equation. Okay, we know that expenses consists of two costs, right? Total variable cost plus the fixed cost. Total variable cost plus fixed cost. Okay, so we write out the formula first. Write down formula. Then after that, we substitute the TVC. TVC is equal to 422 multiplied N. Because 422 here, this 422 is variable cost per machine. Okay, But this TBC here is the total variable cost. So that means the total variable cost is equal to 422 multiplied n. 422 is from here. And then multiply n. N, we don't know what is the quantity number. So we just put n there. All right. Fixed cost, we already know the value directly just now, right? It's equal to 36,500. So we substitute here. So this is the equation for expenses. Part C is asking to draw the equation, the income and also the expenses equation on the same graph paper. This one will not be covered in your test, so we'll just skip that one. Okay, we'll go for D. D is find the break-even point. Break-even point. What is the meaning break-even point? Break-even point means you are asked to identify. If you go back to the diagram, break-even point is this point, right? This point is the break-even point. So that means we are asked to identify the value of N. Okay, N means the break-even level of production, and also identify the income value at this break-even level of production. Okay, this point, that means you need to identify the X and Y coordinates, right? Which is, in this case, is the X will be the break-even level of production, and then your Y is the income at the break-even level, which is this point. Okay, X and Y value. Okay, so let's try to get the X first. So now we go back to the question now. Okay. So we know that at the break-even, the income is always equal to the expenses, right? So we write down the formula first. So income, how to identify the income? We already have the income equation in part A. So we substitute this equation to here, right? On the left-hand side. Expenses, we know that is equal to 422n plus 36,500. So we substitute to the right-hand side. Okay, then now we try to accumulate all the n on the left. Okay, so we'll move 422n to the left, becomes negative 422n. So simplify the left-hand side, you'll get 146n. Okay, then move 146 to the right-hand side, becomes divide. So you'll get n is equal to 250, exactly 250. So what is the meaning? N is equal to 250. That means that in order to achieve break-even, the company must able to produce and sort out 250 machines per month. Okay, in order to get break-even. So N is the break-even level of production. So in this case, this is the X value. Okay, before we go for Y value or the I, I just want to share with you. Okay, what happens if the company only managed to produce and sort out 249? What is the status of the company if the number of units being sold out is only 249? Is that making a profit or loss? It's still making a loss, right? Even though the company is managed to sell 249, it's still making a loss because still not able to cover the fixed cost. So it's still making a loss, all right? Then, so that means in this case here, in order to produce profit, the company must at least produce and sell up 251 in order to get the profit. Okay. So that means 251 is the first machine that will help the company to generate profit. The profit will come with a positive value, okay? When the company is managed to sell at 251 machine and above, then we'll start to get the positive profit. Okay, now we have to get the Y value because the question is asking for point. Point means we still need to get the Y value. Y is I, okay? It's the I. So how can we do is, once we know the N value is equal to 250, we substitute into N in order to get the I value. So I value is equal to 142,000. As a result, we can make a conclusion now. The break-even point is this one. Okay? So this is the break-even point, 250, 142,000. Okay, so this type of question also very important for this chapter. So in short, for this chapter, there are two important ones, which are linear equation formation and also the break-even point analysis. Any other questions on chapter 5? Okay, if you refer to the tutorial questions, okay, most of the questions here are asking to draw. That is really wasting the time. So, okay, like stack the gradient. This one is still okay. You still can do this part. I think 5. Okay, let us see 5.1 first. 5.1 is only asking you to draw, to jot down. 5.3 is to identify the gradient and also the y-intercept. I think still okay. 5.4, if you don't have the time to draw or sketch, you can skip. 5.4 you can skip, right? 5.5 is to plot the graph. I would rather suggest you to solve this one using the simultaneous equation instead of drawing. I would like you to use the simultaneous equation method to solve the problem, because this will be covered in your test. 5.6 you can try lah. Okay, you can try some question at home, okay, if you want. Answer already given to you. Okay, so that will be chapter 5. Okay, now we move on to chapter 4. We do revision backward. All right, for reverse revision. Okay, so chapter 5 already done. For chapter 4, then what are the areas that you need to focus? Chapter 4, you need to focus on this one, how to identify the significant figures. Okay, got this question come out. And also, you may need to apply the index rules, logarithm rules, like term rules. Okay, so let's try to check one by one. So for index rules, the first 3 index rules are very important, because these 3 rules will help you to simplify. That means remove the brackets. Okay, remove the brackets for certain equation. You must apply the index rule so that you can remove the brackets for certain equation. So the first index rule is when the base number are the same and involve multiplication activity, then we can combine the power number. You see this, the base number is A, right? So for both are the A, same. So we can combine the power number, becomes X plus Y for the power number. Second index rule is if the same base number, which is A, is involving the division activity, then we can combine the power number, becomes X minus Y. Okay, third index rule is when the format of the equation is A power X, right, and then bracket power Y, then we can combine this XY together. The power can be combined together, becomes power XY. So bear in mind, for the third index rule, right, there is only one base number, which is only one A, 1A. Then we can combine the power number, becomes X multiply Y. Okay. So what happens if the equation is very long but involve similar terms? That means same species, same variable. Then we can combine and in order to simplify. But bear in mind, we only apply this like term concept, right? When involving only plus and minus activities. No multiplication and division, only plus and minus. Like for instance, okay, this equation, this is 5A, this is negative 3A. Both has similar A variable, right? So we can combine, it becomes 2A. If the equation is looking for unknown variable, which is a power number, when the unknown variable is a power number, and then we can use the logarithm rule to help. Let's say the nature of the equation is the A power X equals to B, and then you are asked to get the X value, which is a power number. So what we can do is we can apply the formula of log B divided by log A to get the X value. Okay, lastly, for this part is, what happens if I ask to combine 2 fractional terms? Okay, 2 fractional terms, how to combine? If you want to combine, make sure that the denominator for both terms must be similar. Denominator for both terms must be similar in order to combine the numerator. So let's try one example here. Okay, for this equation, there are 2 terms, 2 fractional terms. The first term is A divided by B, right? Second fractional term is A divided by 2B. Okay, you may find that the first term denominator is B. Second term denominator is 2B. Different variable. Okay, different terms. So that means we need to similarize the denominator for the first fraction term with the second fraction term. Otherwise, we cannot combine these two terms together. So how to do so? What we can do is we can multiply 2 over 2 for the first term. Okay, multiply 2 over 2 for the first term, so that the denominator for the first term is equal to 2b. Okay, so once both terms have similar denominator, which is 2b, then we can add up all the numerator for both terms, which is equal to 2a plus a. So simplify, I get 3a. Okay, so you may leave this answer in this way, 3a divided by 2b. Right? Okay, this is for chapter number 4. Chapter 3. Okay, chapter 3, there are 2 parts, right? We'll go for part 2 first, which is simple interest and compound interest. So in chapter 3, the second part, we have learned 2 interest rate calculation that involve investment and also the saving as well. All right. So the first interest calculation is using the simple interest. Second one is compound interest. Okay, first we have to understand first what is the meaning of simple interest. Simple interest calculation is only based on principal throughout the investment period. Only based on principal. The interest earned from other period will not help to earn any interest at all. And that is the meaning of simple interest. Right? So how to calculate the simple interest? Earn, okay, you can use the formula PRT to get the answer. Okay. So once you know the I, then you can use the second formula to get the maturity value, which is the S, P plus I. Okay. Okay, bear in mind, usually the interest rate given in the question is called as nominal rate. The interest rate given in the question is called as nominal rate. Okay, nominal rate. It's also a yearly rate, but it's called, there is a name for that. It's called as nominal rate. Right? If you are asked to calculate the effective rate, then you can use this formula to get the effective rate. This one, okay, which is 2 multiply nominal rate multiply n divided by n plus 1. So some students may ask, okay, what is the difference between effective rate and the nominal rate? Effective rate means the rate, the interest rate is revised every year. Okay, it's revised every year. Okay, for simple interest, the calculation here, this simple interest calculation also usually applied into the hire purchase agreement in the daily life. The hire purchase agreement is using the simple interest calculation. Okay, so what is the meaning of hire purchase agreement? That means that the customer, okay, is allowed to pay the debt of the purchase through future repayment. But this future repayment are entitled for interest charge. Okay, and then the interest charge is based on simple interest calculation. Under this agreement, usually the customer has to pay the down payment first. Okay, after paying the down payment, the remaining principal will be charged for interest. Okay, so in order to answer this type of question, the first thing is we must identify the principal value, which is using the formula of selling price minus the deposit. Get the P value first, stand by first, even though the question does not ask. Stand by. Why? Because we need to use the P value to calculate the S. Okay, to calculate the how much interest charge. In order to get the I also, how much interest charge, how much is the repayment? Repayment means the S. Okay, that have to be paid by the customer under the hire purchase. Okay, so these are the formula that we may need to apply for simple interest. Okay, on the other side, compound interest. Compound interest means the interest calculation is based on principal and also the interest earned from previous period. Okay, so because of this, there is no direct formula to get an I value, just like the simple interest. There is not a direct formula. In order to get the I value, that means you need to use S minus P, right? You need to use S minus P here to get the answer. How to get the S? Okay, for compound interest, we need to use this formula. This one, okay? So you have to understand the meaning of each variable, right? So P means the principal, initial investment, right? Original investment. K is the This one, K, means the annual rate, annual interest rate. Or we call it annual compound interest rate, K. K is the annual rate. Okay. M, what is the meaning of M? M means number of times. Okay, number of times that the interest being compounded within a year. Within a year. So in order to get M, you need to read the question properly. Yeah? If the interest is compound monthly, that means M is equal to 12. If the interest is compound daily, that means M is equal to 365. All right. So T is the investment period in year unit. Year unit. So make sure that you can understand this part. Okay, some students may ask also, so what is the meaning K divided by M here? K divided by M is the period rate, okay? Which is using the yearly rate divided by M. So let's say M is 4. If M is 4, that means this whole thing here is the quarterly rate, right? Depends on the M. So if M is 4, that means this whole thing is called as quarterly rate. If M is 12, that means this whole thing is called as monthly rate. Okay, if you're confused, I can use a table to show you again. Yeah, okay. So let's say if the yearly rate is 12%, if the interest is compound quarterly, that means M is equal to 4. So the monthly rate is 12% divided by 4, we'll get 3%. Okay. So 3% is the quarterly rate. How about monthly rate? Monthly rate, we have to use 12% divided by 12, so it's equal to 1%. Okay. Okay. There's another terminology is effective rate and nominal rate. What's the meaning? Okay. In fact, all of these are annual rate. All of these are annual rate. But in order to differentiate, okay, the interest rate which is compounded only once a year, we give a special term for this. Okay, if the interest rate is only compounded once in a year, we call this as the effective rate. Okay, but only this one is effective rate. If the interest is compounded more than once in a year, like okay, compound, semi-annually, quarterly, monthly, all these, we call this as nominal rate. So effective rate and nominal rate, in fact, all are yearly rate, all are annual rate. So I just want to differentiate. This effective rate is the rate that only compound once a year. Okay. And then also there's a usefulness to have the effective rate. Why? Because sometimes the question may ask you to compare which bank offer better interest rate, either A or B. Okay. And the interest calculation for both banks may be different, right? May have different M value. So in order to standardize, it's better for us to compare the effective rate for both banks. Change all the nominal rate to effective rate for both banks so that we can do comparison. So how to calculate the effective rate? Okay, effective rate, you can use this formula. Okay, the last formula, this formula, to calculate the effective rate for each bank so that we can do comparison. So the higher the effective rate, the better for the investor. So investor should choose the higher effective rate. Okay, besides that, this formula, you can transpose this formula also if you want, right? So that you can get the P value, the T, and also the K value based on this. But anyway, during the exam and also the test, you can just use the formula list to get the P, the T, and also the K value directly, by using these formulas. Okay, I stop for a while. Any question on this chapter? Part 2. You need to practice in order to familiarize with the concept. Okay, last part. That will be chapter 3, part 1, right? Financial mathematics, part 1. All right. So generally, these are the 11 formulas that you need to apply for this part. Okay. So the first formula will test understanding on commission. What is the meaning of commission? Commission actually is the some of the return that can be earned. Okay, some of the we call as the return or benefit that can be earned by the salesperson. And this commission is based on total sales that can be achieved by the salesperson. So commission calculation is based on the total sales. And the formula is equal to total sales multiplied with commission rate. Okay. All right. Then how about the remaining, all this formula 2 until 11? The formula 2 until 11 actually related to the supply chain that involve at least 3 parties in the product distribution. Okay, so that means we need to understand again the relationship among the wholesaler, retailer, and also the customer. These are the main stakeholders in the product distribution. Okay, so what is the meaning of wholesaler here? Wholesaler is referred to the can be referred to the manufacturer or the importer of the product. Okay, usually the wholesaler will produce a lot of huge quantity of product. Okay, as a result, this wholesaler would like to sell the product like in huge quantity. Okay, to the potential customer. Okay, so as a result, this wholesaler usually will not sell to the end user directly, no. Okay, but it will just sell to the retailer so that the product can be sold out in huge quantity. Okay. So who are the retailers here? Retailers are the shopkeeper or the owner of the shop that can sell the products in small quantity to the end user later. Okay. So that is the difference between wholesaler and retailer. Retailer usually is not the manufacturer, but it's only because as the middleman. Okay, well, get the products from wholesaler and resell to the customer in order to get profit. Okay, all right. So now let's see the relationship between wholesaler and retailer. How to buy the product. Okay, so usually it's like this. The wholesaler will list the price of the product. We call this as the list price. List price. But in order to encourage retailer to buy more products, then the wholesaler can offer trade discount so that the retailer can buy more quantity of product in order to enjoy the trade discount. Okay, so this trade discount is based on the list price. The calculation is based on the list price. So if the list price minus the trade discount, we call this as the cost price for the retailer. Cost price for the retailer is using the list price minus the trade discount, which is the cost price for the retailer. So once the retailer purchase the product, okay, then the retailer have to decide how much the markup percentage that had to be charged to the final customer in order to get profit. Right? So the markup price is based on the cost price. The markup price calculation is based on the cost price. Okay? Markup price is equal to cost price plus the markup. Then you'll get the markup price. Right. But anyway, in order to encourage the customer to pay cash, okay, using cash to pay, then cash discount will be given, usually offered by the retailer to customer, to the end user. So this cash discount is based on the markup price. They multiply with the discount rates. Okay. So if you're using the cash, the markup price minus the discount, you'll get the selling price. So selling price is the final price that will be offered to the customer after the discount rate reduction. Okay. So if the question is asking for profit and loss, usually it's referred to the retailer profit and loss. So the formula is using selling price minus the cost price. Okay. Selling price is the price offered by retailer to customer. Cost price is the cost that paid by retailer to the manufacturer. Okay. So last formula is for this chapter will be percentage profit. This is the percentage profit for the retailer. Okay. The formula is using selling price minus the cost price divided by cost price and then convert to percentage. They can get the answer. So yeah, in short, these are the sections that you need to know. Okay, for online test 2. So don't forget our online test 2 will be conducted on Tuesday, 5th July, 2 o'clock to 3 o'clock, 1 hour. Okay. Okay. You can try to do the practice exercise 2 in order to familiarize with the online test question. Okay, that is one part. Then how about your project 2? Any progress now? Project 2, tomorrow is the due date, or are you okay or not? Or do you want me to postpone the due date to coming week Monday. I'm okay to postpone to Monday the due date. You want me to postpone or not the due date? Or you're okay with Friday? You can submit on Friday. Okay lah, all right? Can lah? Okay, good. That means you already nearly finished. You nearly finished your work. Okay, that's good. Yeah. I haven't checked yet. Any group already submitted or not? Okay, all right. So now it's about 10:18. Okay, let me see any question from the online students. Any student would like to ask question from online group? Okay, let me see. Any questions from them? Okay, no question so far. No question from them. Okay, I think there's one question is on the project 2, last part, coefficient of skewness. Some students ask, what is that? In fact, this is the skewness, SKP. Okay? Identify the SKP value of the data distribution to identify the pattern on the data distribution, whether it's skewed to the left, skewed to the right, or symmetric. That is question number F. If you refer to your question on Canvas, too slow. I think it's 3F, part F, the last part. Okay, so that means for project 2, you are not required to calculate the CV. CV means the coefficient of variation is not required. Okay, for project 2, no need to calculate the coefficient of variation. Any other questions before we call a day? I'll let you do the project all right, if that's the case. If no other question, then we just call a day, all right? So I'll see you on Monday for the last topic of this syllabus, which is metrics. Okay, so online students, I'll say goodbye to all of you. And I'll stop to do recording now. Okay, bye-bye. 1, 2, 3. Other questions?